Yeah. All right, amigos. Welcome to today's episode. Today, I have my amigo Hayo with me, and I have myself. We don't have amigo Mide in this show, in this episode. He will be here with more insight, more refreshed, and we just want to jump on and talk about a few games that happened. It was week one of the Premier League. We saw some really intense game. We also have Chelsea making poor decision with their players, and also Chelsea not being impressive against Man City. All right, Hayo, welcome to the show. Good to see you, brother.
Great to be here. Great to be here.
Good. How was how? What do you think of week one?
It was very fascinating. As soon as I made my predictions and I went to go sit down with myself afterwards, I was like, "Oh my God, what have I done? I've set myself up for to be embarrassed the entire time." But I felt very confident, and so I went to go watch the game just to see where teams are, and particularly just see where Arsenal are. And I watched the Arsenal game, and I was pleasantly surprised. They did a lot of things good, a lot of questions still to answer, but they outcompeted Wolves. Wolves are a great side. They have a great philosophy, and they have talented players and a talented coach. However, we showed why we are competitors for the trophy. We took their pressure, we managed that pressure, and we made our chances count. And we left away with not just all 3 points, but 2 goals and none conceded. Standouts for the games were the wonderful press that we have established with Odegaard, Saka, and Havertz, as well as individual brilliance that we can see thriving. Obviously going back to Saka, as well as Declan and Havertz as well. So it was a great game. We didn't learn too much more because this is mostly a continuation of last season. But it's glad to know that we're still very effective. We will know more as time goes on. We have a lot of challenging games. Aston Villa next in a few days time, as well as other challenges. But we'll see. We're fairly confident. Yeah. Mhm.
Very good, very good. So now, question to you. You said there's a lot of questions to ask. What is one of them? And I hope it doesn't have to be Thomas Partey being, you know, really good in the midfield, but is looking like an unconventional role for him. So, what are your questions?
The two big ones that came to us was beating the press in general, and then control. So last season we had a little bit of difficulty imposing ourselves on games with the ball. Off the ball we can do that, but with the ball we had a hard time, and that was because our progression from back to front can be easily stifled. And so I didn't see enough today to convince me that we can, what's it called, beat the press of strong pressing teams in a regular fashion. So I saw a lot of missed passes, a lot of dribbles or ball carrying to no man's land. I saw a lot of sloppy passes from Partey in particular, but also as well as Saliba. And it's not the end of the world, but it did raise a lot of questions that when we go into the later stages of tournaments like the Champions League, the FA, and we're playing teams that know how to mount a press. We're playing a Liverpool, we're playing a Man City, et al. We need to be able to show that we can confidently break the lines. And I didn't see enough to say that we can. And there's also a problem was how light we seemed to be in midfield. At the end of the game, Declan Rice had a cramp, and it started making me think that if Declan Rice gets injured, who's coming in? Is it Jorginho? Is a midfield of Jorginho, Partey, and Odegaard? Is that a strong midfield? If Odegaard gets injured, then we're Jorginho, Partey, and maybe Vieira, and it starts to look very shaky. And so we need to bring in a little bit more quality to act as a buffer, not just to make sure we can keep the performance levels in trainings and in games, but also that we have good replacements should injuries strike. We were very lucky with key players last season, and we cannot count on that lock this season. I think we've addressed that sufficiently with the defense in the signings of Calafiori and the fitness of Timber, but we need to answer those questions in midfield. So I heard about Marino. That's been a lot of talk. He's a wonderful midfielder, and if we can bring him in, we'd be better for it. But till we actually see a signature, we are very light in midfield. Yeah.
Very good. Look at the analytics. It was a pretty close game when it comes to the ball possessions, when it comes to passing accuracy. So definitely, Wolves is not an easy team. Amigo made it talked about them last episode that we had. I think coming up with a clean sheet was impressive. Let's talk about the Man United and Fulham. What's your thoughts on that?
I didn't watch it all to the end. I kind of got bored towards the end. Uh, I would say competent yet unremarkable. There's a little bit better control. So, and Ten Hag talked about this in the preseason, and we are seeing this where that they are actually building their offense or their attacks in a more measured and balanced way, but they seem to be opened up a little bit too easily for my liking. And one would wonder if a team that was better placed than Fulham, because Fulham they look like they're going to struggle this season. But a team that was better placed than Fulham, they might have raised more questions. But it was nice. It was a great thing to see Xerxes first game winning goal. It was great to see Troy, the legend, on a touchline. These are nice moments, and it feels like there isn't a sense of negativity around the club and around the players that it was over the past few months, and so that's a positive. However, on the field, I would still class them as unproven, but it's still a win. A win is a win, and we'll see where they go next week.
Mhm. Absolutely. I know Amigo Mide will be excited about the win. Amigos, like and subscribe, put a comment down and let us know your thoughts about some of these games. So for me, the Man United, I personally think they don't seem prepared for that game. I feel like they maybe it's just the negative vibes that has been around them for a while. They seem like they just want to win the game somehow, brute force the game. They don't seem to show for any tactics. That's what the point I'm trying to make here. Yes, winning goal, outstanding. Wasn't the cleanest goal ever, but hey, it was still a win. But I kind of expected more from Man United. I would say kudos to Bruno Fernandes, always on top of the game. Uh, but I expected more from Rashford in that game. I think there were some few chances that they could do a lot of coordination. But overall, football amigos, y'all know how we feel about these games. Let us know how you feel. Now I'm going to talk about Liverpool. Yes, we got 2 goals. Definitely a good way to start the season. Clean sheet. For me, I I was impressed, but I really think the game could have been it could have been better in terms of first half wasn't anything at all. It seemed like we didn't play like a preseason. It seemed like we were just not together. Second half was really impressive in the sense of how our passes were coming through. I think there was a little bit of understanding. Shout out to Gravenberch, which I think it did a great job in the midfield. I like that we did a lot of substitution in that game. Start giving people break early, so we don't have because we still got to play Champions League. We still got all the competition to be in. But overall, I give it an 8 on that. I think we could play more together in the first half. Um, Second half got better. Like I said, I think they starting to do well with the 4-3-3. I like the way they mark, the way they close down opponent. I didn't like it before now, but when I saw it in real time, this game, I think it just showed that okay, we're gonna be more defensive mindset, and it's gonna be from everybody. But overall, no bad, nothing crazy. All right, and we got a couple of games last
Good
weekend.
question before you move forward. Who was
Yes.
your standout performer in the game?
Ooh, that's a good question. The Gravenberch. Gravenberch
Really?
was yeah, Gravenberch was impressive to me. What about you? What you got?
It's Saka. It's
Oh,
just
from Arsenal, yeah, soccer. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Oh, for I didn't watch the game. I saw the highlights.
okay.
Uh, and from what I could tell from the chatter, it looks like Trent had a great game creatively. And
Yeah,
so that and it's just nice to see how reliable Salah is. And
absolutely.
people ask questions, and every season everyone that keeps asking, is he gonna be what we think he is? And every
Yeah.
season without fail, he shows us that he is. And so I really respect him. But about standout performer from in terms of time playing and being a creative uh access for the team, I'll give it a Trent. Mhm.
Fair, fair. So let's talk about Leicester and Tottenham. Last weekend, during a prediction show, Amigos, go find that show if you haven't seen it. You predicted that they're gonna get blown out. Leicester is gonna get blown out. Um, I still stand on the fact that Tottenham is gonna go well, go far this season, especially with the addition of Dom Solanke. However, that game, I my prediction was I believe it was a draw or possibility of Leicester winning the game. What is your thoughts on that game?
I mean, it definitely was a game of two halves. But you always have to realize that, you know, because of energy levels or just momentum, you can't necessarily control all 90 minutes of a game. That's very hard to do, but you got to make your chances count. And I watched the first part of the game. I listened to the first part of the game while I was driving, and it looked like it should have been a blowout. Chance upon chance upon chance upon chance upon chance was presented to Tottenham's and some to Solanke, and they couldn't convert, which is the same problem they had last season. And after a while, the momentum swung against them, and they nearly lost to Leicester. And so, on one hand, it is puzzling as to what's up with Tottenham because you'd have expected them to kick on from last season because all the team is familiar with themselves. I mean, one or two people are new, but it's still the same team. So there should be some cohesion that I didn't quite see. And on the other hand, uh, I might have been too harsh on Leicester City. They look like they have a wonderful culture. They got great heritage, and they got a willingness to fight, and just a ton of experience. You see players like Milner and Vardy, and even though you're not necessarily the best pound for pound or player to player, experience does count. Maturity does count, and a closer is a closer. And Vardy has always been one of the best closers in the game. So it was interesting to see, but I do think that Tottenham have some questions to answer. And it could just be first game jitters. So we might get to next week and service should resume. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they definitely have a lot of questions. The defense, there were a few mistakes at on the defense. I'm like, what is going on back here? They literally could have lost that game. You're right. They had some chances. They didn't take those chances. Big shout out to Leicester. Big shout out to Jimmy Vardy. Is he 38, 39, or 40? Oh, that man is like LeBron James of of soccer now, man.
We've been hearing about him so long. You should be collecting pension. Yeah.
You should. You should. But no, really, really great also from Leicester. I can see the younger. And also the reason why I think Leicester might do well this season or they might stay honestly is because they're not just playing towards Vardy. Unlike when they won the title many years ago now. It was Vardy and a couple of guys, Mares, they already had a game plan. Vardy was always in front, ready to go, and score those killer goals. This game, they were just playing from one hand to the hand. Indeed, he was on point. So it's going to be an interesting season, amigo. Let us know your thought. Real quick, talk about Chelsea, Man City.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some time to think about and process that game. Take away from that game, Chelsea have talent, they have youth, they have physicality. Man City seemed vulnerable, and there's no. There were a lot of chances created, a lot of places where they had to struggle, and they have, and they're playing. They could be playing, against a really great organized team, and so they can see the chances. But this has been a recurring theme for a while now, and so questions that are to ask as to whether there's fatigue, not just in the team, in the squad, but fatigue in a manager, because it takes something to do this back to back to back to back. They've done it 4 times in a row. They're trying to do it the fifth time. Like, the question now is, does he have the same hunger or fresh or clarity that he had back in the day? And I'm not 100% convinced. But I say all of that, and they still won 2-0. So they are champions. Chelsea, they surprised me, and they confirmed my beliefs at the same time. They surprised me where it's like it's clear to see the amount of talent that is there. It looks like they have something in Lavia, and it'll be interesting to see how he develops. But on top of all of this, it is still not a team. It is a bunch of talents thrown together, and there's a ton of work to be done to mold whatever all of these ingredients are into a stew that I don't spit out. With the Sterling thing, let's just say I don't wish for teams to suffer or not succeed. I don't like thinking like that. I'm not like rooting against Liverpool or Man United. I just love Arsenal. But after that happening, I've never wanted a team to fail like I wanted Chelsea to fail. There's a way they treat their players. There's a way they treat their team. There's an attitude, the management, that they treat people like they don't treat them like people, and that's not sustainable. That's not how you build relationships. That's not how you build cohesion, and that's not how you have a shared vision that everyone buys into. You can't do that by telling Sterling he's going to be a top big part of your plans and then kicking him to the curb immediately. You can't do that by just overloading. There's like so many goalkeepers, there's so many strikers, and there's so many options. There is something to say about having too much options. When you have too many options, you go into something called decision paralysis. And I think there will be a lot of, like, Maresca is going to have to fight a lot of decision paralysis, because he's going to have a ton of options with none being as sure or proven or reliable. And so you saw a lot of things that were good to see, movement, verve. There seems to be a plan or structure or set way of playing, but I just don't think they have it, whatever that is mentally, that's gonna like see them through to give a consistent performance across the entire 38 games. I think they will be a yo-yo team this season, and I stand by my prediction of where they'll place.
Yeah, very good thoughts. Looking at the game, I just feel like you're right. They have way too many options, and that's gonna kill them. And not only that, I I just don't know if they have the hunger in them. The defense was terrible. Like when you look at the Ireland's goal, come on, Cucurella. I don't even know what he's doing up there. I know he's a Europe 24 champion or whatnot, but I've been saying it before now. It's just not a top top club fit. You can't win games with players like that. So they need to fix their defense. I know they have a lot of options in other position, including goalkeeper, but they really need to fix their defense, and fix their striker as well. I don't think Nicholas Jackson is gonna get them to be in that competing position. But we'll see. You never know. Things turn around.
This season's gonna be hella competitive. I'm looking at the games and I look through, like I'm looking at my team's roster, I'm looking at some of the games. Even in the first couple of weeks, there are no gimme weekends. There are no gimme games. You play against Ipswich, they'll put up a fight. You play against Leicester, they'll put up a fight. You play against Fulham, they might not hit you, but they won't go down easy. You gotta fire a lot of shots. And so victory, I think, will be based on consistency. I think the teams that can be consistent and the teams, at least in my Arteta's, to borrow his word, that can suffer and go play through adversity. Those are the ones that we'll see come up. It's definitely not going to be all about skill. It's definitely going to be all about tactics because I think the skill level is really high this season, and I think the tactics level is really really high this season. I think the intangibles are going to matter a ton. And so I'm really interested to see. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but it is definitely one of the most fascinating seasons. The competition is stacked. Yeah.
You are 100% right about that. I look at the result of last weekend. Crystal Palace lost to Brentford. Things like that would happen. It's going to be a very dynamic season. Amigo Ayo, I thank you for your thoughts, analysis, and your time. Amigos, hit the subscribe button. Like, literally go subscribe now. Please and thank you. Send this to your friends and family and let us know how we're doing. Stay well, amigo.